357 is the only set of prime triplets. They are the only prime numbers where there are two away like this. But how do we know that this is the only set of prime triplets? Let's find out. All positive integers are in one of these three forms, where n is a non-negative integer. They are either a multiple of 3, one more than a multiple of 3, or two more than a multiple of 3. So let's take a look at three cases. The first case being the smallest number is of the form 3n, where n is a non-negative integer. So the other two numbers are of the form 3n plus 2 and 3n plus 4. Now let's take a look at 3n. These are multiples of 3, and they are not prime, unless n equals 1, because 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 is prime. And when we substitute in 1 for n, we get 357, all of these are prime, so we found a set of prime triplets. Now for case 2, let's have the smallest number be of the form 3n plus 1, where n is a non-negative integer. So the other two numbers have to be of the form 3n plus 3 and 3n plus 5. Let's take a look at this second number over here. Let's factor out a 3 from both terms. So we see that the second number is a multiple of 3, and remember, multiples of 3 are not prime, unless it's 3, so 3 times 1. That forces n to be 0 here. But if n equals 0, we get the numbers 1, 3, 5. 3 and 5 are prime, but 1 is not. It doesn't have exactly two unique factors, so this is not a set of prime triplets. Now for the last case, let's consider the smallest number to be of the form 3n plus 2, where n is a non-negative integer. So the other two numbers are of the form 3n plus 4 and 3n plus 6. Now with this last number, they both have a factor of 3 in common, so let's factor that out. So we see that we have a multiple of 3 here. And remember, multiples of 3 cannot be prime unless it's just 3. That means n equals negative 1 here. But we already said that n is non-negative, but let's just do it anyway. And when we do, we can see why we said n is non-negative. Because if n is negative, we get negative numbers. And we don't consider negative numbers when talking about prime numbers. So this is out of the question. So there you have it. That is how we can prove that 357 is the only set of prime triplets.